going on, Yankee fans? I am Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy, joined with my very dear friend, cohort, and fellow Yankee fan, Danny Boy Reginald, and welcome to another exciting edition of Bombers Banter. Reg, how you doing, buddy?
Well, good. Look, given the circumstances in June for the Yankees, I feel iffy, but not dead in the water. So that's good news. Personally, I'm also doing fine. Trying to be a healthier version of myself, and not just for me, but for the family and for friends like you. So I want to be around. So I'm just blessed to be wake up every day in this earth. So yeah, it's good.
So we got a lot to talk about today. We're gonna talk the Yankees in June, preview July, my continuing war with ChatGPT.
Yep.
And if we have time, stump the Reg.
We'll make time for Stump the Reg.
We have to make time for Stump the Reg.
So come on now.
We always make time for Stump the Reg.
Okay. But before we get to any of the stumping, it's time that we address a little bit of issues with this Yankee team, man. For how it was going in June, I think the Yankees are ending it off in a fairly strong side. So
I can agree.
Not, greatly over and dead. So it's but still very, very lackluster, underachieving, and disappointing.
Yes, this June was very
disappointing is my word. My word is disappointing, because the Yankees had a good May with issues, but they had a good May. They seemed like it was a very promising season, not necessarily for the division, because again, the Rays got off to a good start. And now what we all expected, the Orioles with that young team, they're actually doing a lot better, and they're close with the Rays. So obviously division was already done by the end of May. I wasn't worried about the division, but seemed very promising for at least one of the wild cards. And halfway through June, we started to panic a little bit because of series losses to the White Sox, the Red Sox, split with the Mets, and then the sweep to the Red Sox. It's one of those where it was just very, very disappointing to watch. Then of course it didn't help that Bader was hurt. Doesn't hurt that Judge is still hurt. Probably won't see him again in 2023. And it again, and then of course the bullpen. It's a nightmare at times. Overall, the lineup and the pitching that the Yankees are throwing out there, it's tough to watch. There's a lot of people that we don't really know about in this lineup, and that this gives me a lot of the 2013 vibes a little bit, where they're just throwing out a bunch of morons because all of our hitters are out.
Yes. It also gives me the vibe, how Judge, our captain, was hurt, in 2013. Don't forget 2012 when Jeter got when he broke his ankle in the 2012 ALCS, and he was basically done for the year. He played one game in 2013, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
And then they literally had to take him out after that game. It's like, and then he got shut down for the year. So, yeah. And when you look at Judge, if you saw what happened, how he first it was a broken toe, and I'm like, well, this ain't good. And then it's like, okay, 10 days, maybe he'll be good. But then they're saying torn, torn ligament. I'm like, that's really not good.
Yeah. Now you have to really think about possible surgery and other treatments, and healing any ligament in your body takes a while.
And they're giving no timetable right now.
And
But
yeah, so look, I understand what the Yankees are trying to do. They're trying to milk it until they can get official word about his injury. But you're not fooling anybody.
like, here's the thing, folks. When they say 10 days IL, they mean at least 10 days.
Yeah, but this is different because you're approaching a month now. So my whole point is, rather than just letting the fan base know that there's a possibility, just shut him down. If we know that the injury is worse than it actually is, it's not a secret. You're not hiding anything.
There is something the Yankees are not telling us right now.
They don't have to tell us.
And listen, dude, if Judge is shut down, then Judge is shut down.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it, but you know what? If he needs time to heal so he can be in good shape for next season, then so be it.
Yeah, like, look, we just paid the man God knows how much money per year.
$360 million.
So then it's like we have
over
to
9 years.
We have to protect this man at all costs. And if it means that we save the $40 million guy for 2024, knowing that he's going to be fully healthy and ready to go, then so be it. Like, I don't want to put him out there only for him to get shut down again.
Agreed.
It's not that this yet again, it's all about protecting the asset and also about making sure you get the best out of that contract. And you're not going to get the best out of the contract if you're going to do these short-term treatments and then he's going to keep going on IL here and there. Like, it's not good business. And the Yankees really have to just live with this reality. And being real with you, they've had a tough time making adjustments with Judge out of the lineup. I know the last week and a half or so, the Yankees have been better, but of course you're facing teams like the Mariners and the A's. So it's just like, okay, well, we already know that the Mariners are the Rangers, they actually had a series win against the Rangers. Rangers are one.
Yes. And we said, if you watched us last month, folks, we said that the Rangers, that we were expecting to lose that series.
Yeah.
Rangers are a good team. They're like one of the best hitting teams in the ALS. So, I will give the Yankees credit. They beat Texas.
Yeah. Now, of course, with that said, they barely beat them. The Saturday, on June 24th, they only had a 1-0 win.
And Sevy, who I've been critical of, and you have too.
Yeah,
Sevy actually pitched good on Saturday.
Yeah, which is a good sight. But the thing with Severino, he got his doors blown off the start before that.
Yes, so in Boston, right?
Yeah,
Boston.
So that's the story of his career. Very inconsistent, up and down pitcher. Sometimes, look, there was a time where Luis Severino was in the bullpen. And I think it was during the playoffs. Boone had him in the bullpen. And he was phenomenal in the bullpen. So, but of course, that was just to get him some reps and get him his arm loose and stuff ready for the next season after that. I felt as if watching that bullpen appearance a couple years ago, I felt that was probably the best thing for him, is to stay in the bullpen, because we know he's a long man now because he can go multiple innings at a time. So if you give him a short-term assignment to do every game or every couple games. Like I don't have more confidence in that because his stuff, when it's there, it's there. So I almost felt like the Yankees had an opportunity to really turn him into a reliever, and no, they were very insistent on him starting. But the problem is, some years he's hurt and we never see him, or whenever we do see him, it's very inconsistent pitching, and it's tough to be a starter if you're either hurt or you're inconsistent, and that's just the story of his career. It's very frustrating because we invested a lot of time, not necessarily money, but a lot of time into Severino, and clock's ticking.
And here's the thing with Sevy, and I was talking about this with you on SIP. I'm considering dumping him from my fantasy team. Would you?
Oh, a long time ago would have done that. You haven't
And
done
people
that.
will go, you should have done this. You should have done this months ago.
Now, I'm just gonna be real with you. I don't follow my fantasy team because I don't.
I think I'm beating you right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm beating you.
Yeah, that's great. You're a better fantasy player than I am. I'm just being real.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, but yeah, no, tough one to swallow. If you're the Yankees.
Yes, Sevy's been up and down, up and down. Or guys, if you remember from the April episode, smooth bump, smooth bump, smooth bump. Recently, it's been bump, 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 smooth bump. But Sevy is
Awful.
Yeah. I think you and I have talked about this. I think it's maybe time that they think about parting ways.
Yeah, I mean, look, how much longer can you wait? You have pitchers and you're not quite ready, but you have other pitchers within your farm system that are better or on a better track at the very least than Luis Severino is. Severino's been in the league for quite a while now. We know what he is. Why don't you give some of the young guys, like, I mean, we kind of are, but kind of aren't, but like, you should be giving the young guys a chance. Like Johnny Brito, he had a good start the other night.
No, he did.
Johnny Brito did. And, brilliant start, but then they decided to send him down. And it's like, why don't you part ways with the pitchers that we know are kind of lost causes, like Luis Severino, and, try out the system a little bit. And then if not the system, why don't you try to find a reliever from a team that's worse than you and try to bring them here so that they can possibly help the team? These are the decisions in the front office that they're not thinking of.
Do they ever think?
Yeah, and then look, and again, look, I feel for Severino. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he is actually trying. Like his effort's there, but it's just not enough. And sometimes, how much can Yankee fans take it?
100% agree. I think it's time Sevy go bye-bye. And yeah, but overall in June, what's weird? I think, and agree or disagree, I feel like this month, the hitting's been terrible.
Well, it's because they're throwing out a lineup that is very anemic. And then, unfortunately, it's the veteran players that frustrate you. The Rizzo,
Giancarlo, he's
the Giancarlo Stanton has been brutal since he came back from injury. Josh Donaldson, he had a good series in LA, and then we don't see him again. Like he's awful. He's very, very, very quiet. Rizzo, since his injury,
he's been quiet.
Running with Tatis at first base. Since then, he hasn't been the same, and you question whether that injury needs to be addressed. The Yankees continue to say that it's all good. Rizzo says it's all good.
Something is wrong with Rizzo.
If
I'm the trainer, I would be checking him constantly. I'd be saying, Riz, are you still hurt from when you ran into Tatis? Because your performance has been mediocre. Like, is everything okay?
But he insists, no, it's just that I'm just struggling. I'm in a slump. And that could very well be the case. He could very well just be in a slump.
Hey, you know what? I will say this: like last night, don't worry, we'll get to that in a bit. We promise we'll get to it. It's this show's not going to just be us being negative Nancy's. We will talk about it. We promise. But last night he did some good plays on in the field, so I'll give him that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we're not getting anything out of LeMahieu either, and
he's cold
contract,
and
then you're throwing nobodies like Willie Calhoun, who's earned his stripes a little bit.
He's been doing decent. You know who I think's been doing pretty good? Billy McKinney's been doing really good.
He's been really good, but he's another one of those unknown idiots that were thrown out there.
Is it one of the guys that Cashman found off the streets in the Bronx and said, "Hey, guess what? You're playing tonight."
Yeah.
We swear to God, we think he does that.
Yeah, and look, as hard and as much of an effort as they give, it's not enough if you don't have your best players play at the top of their game.
Agreed. Like, they need to be playing A level here. And also, something I have to address here. Mm-hmm. Anthony Volpe.
But don't worry about Volpe. I understand you guys are worried.
We are.
Not every rookie is going to blossom early. Do you understand that?
No, I understand that, but
this is my issue with sports nowadays. You have this hot shot rookie. And I get it, he had a good spring training. He impressed everybody, yada, yada. We expected a lot. But at the same token, spring training, who's he playing against?
Nobody's.
Come on now. So this is his true test of a long season up in the major leagues. And, you're bound to find some flaws in his game. Like, this isn't something new. This is something that we've been looking at for many years. And we have to lessen the expectations a bit. And look, I wasn't expecting much from Volpe. I was expecting just to have a shortstop so that we can give IKF a break from having to be the everyday guy. That was my expectation, and he's far exceeded that. And look, IKF is better for it. He's a great utility guy. We found out how much valuable he is now. So again, the massive expectations, that's too much. Sometimes you got to tone it down a little bit.
But you know what? The problem is and I agree with you, the expectations 100%. And I've said this 6,387 times, and I'll probably say it 6,387 more. The problem is, Reg, the expectations, everybody was hyping this kid up that he was going to be the next Derek Jeter.
Yeah, well, not necessarily the next Derek Jeter, but they were hyping him because of his spring training performance. They thought, wow, look at this kid. He's going to be absolutely terrific in the major leagues. Yeah, give this kid a chance. This kid's going to be a stud. And it's not living up to what we saw in spring training. It's unfair. It's not fair.
Like, listen, I know this is a baseball podcast, but I'm going to use an example from football here. If Daniel Jones in preseason throws like 10 touchdown passes in preseason, am I going to take that as, hey, he's going to be great this season? I'm like, no, it's preseason. And that's the same with Anthony Volpe. Is it time to send Volpe down or give?
If they do it, I wouldn't mind it. No, because it's like, if you feel like he needs more time to develop and maybe the moment was too much for him, I'd be okay with it too. But I would also be okay with him having a full season under his belt so that he can learn and he could be better for it.
Yeah. Because listen, if he gets sent down, it's not the worst thing in the world. Well, Jeter was sent down.
I don't mind having him being sent down. Like, I don't care about that.
Jeter was sent down. You know who else was sent down?
So many different people.
Mickey Mantle was sent down.
Dude, being sent down it's not a death sentence. It doesn't mean you're going to be a bad ball player. It's not intended to destroy your confidence. But at the same time, I feel like if you keep him up in the major leagues as well, he can probably figure it out too. So again, it's not. It's up to them, whatever they want to do. But I really don't see anything happening right now.
Because everybody is, because I have heard Yankee content creators say, send the kid down, time to move on.
But it's not even about moving on. It's
okay, no, I'm sorry, I worded that poorly. That's my fault. It's time to look at other options. I'm like thinking, listen, on one hand, yes, when he's underperforming, yes, he's underperforming. But, maybe it is time to send him down. Gain some confidence back, then come back. But, yeah, that's the thing with Volpe. I will give Volpe this. He is a great base runner.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. He's an actual shortstop. That's for one thing. And yeah, in the bases, he's actually pretty smart. So there are certain things that you can use him for.
Yeah, he's a fast base runner, and that's what we need. I'm going to say this before we move on to some other things in June. The overall problem with the Yankees this month is they are losing to teams that they should be beaten with their eyes closed.
But you know what? Stuff like that happens, especially when your best player is injured. You're going to
beat the White Sox. You should beat the Mets. You should beat the Red Sox twice.
And look, I agree with you. But at the same time, you also have to acknowledge that losing Aaron Judge and losing Harrison Bader as well, two studs who have been great for the Yankees. Sometimes that does have an effect a little bit. And you're asking Giancarlo, who just got off the injury list. Of course, don't get me wrong. He should be, after a few at bats, he should get it going. Josh Donaldson too, but Josh Donaldson's been a disaster since he stepped foot into the Bronx. You're asking a lot, to replace Judge in a short amount of time. Now, for someone like Anthony Rizzo and DJ LeMahieu, yeah, you should be stepping in and you should be giving up your power numbers and you should be, hitting the ball better and producing runs. Yeah, obviously. But, when you're rusty like Stanton and Donaldson, it's tough thing to ask, especially when your outfield, just your best player on the team, goes down. So yeah, that's expected to happen. The teams are going to take advantage of the fact that your lineup is depleted. And that's what they did. Now, having said that, there's no excuse for losing to the White Sox. There's no excuse for losing to the Red Sox. Getting swept by the Red Sox is absolutely
don't remind me.
That is absolutely awful. And for the owner to come out in a press conference, look, I gave him credit. He spoke to Yankee fans. Okay, fine, whatever. For the owner to come out and insult our intelligence and say some BS like, it's only June. Why are you guys complaining?
Okay.
What kind of crap is that?
You know what? I have to say something to that.
What kind of crap is that?
I have to say something to that. The problem is, and we talked about this last month, Reg, when we go it's only April, it's only May. Come June 1st, that it's only insert month here, that excuse is no longer valid. That excuse was invalidated on June 1st. Now it's time to start, I don't want to say panic, but it's time to start getting concerned. And the thing is, it's like, Hal Steinbrenner thinks we're a bunch of idiots. And he
obviously doesn't care about what the fans feel.
And I was watching him, he actually got called in on Michael K. And he and Michael K wasn't there. It was Don LaGreca and Sal Rosenberg, I think his name is.
It's Peter Rosenberg.
Peter Rosenberg. Thank you. And they're saying with Steinbrenner, and they're saying like and they're like, oh, what do you think about Boone and Cashman? Well, Boone's a good manager and Cashman's a good general manager. Are you watching the same team we are?
That's the incompetence of the owner. Rifkin and I were talking about this, I believe, on SIP when I had addressed this because it needed to be addressed. Let's be real. And when I told him about what Hal Steinbrenner said in his message to Yankee fans in that presser with the media, he uttered the words, "That's such a Wilpon answer." Can you believe that we've stooped this low to a point?
We're on Wilpon level now, folks.
Comparing Steinbrenner to the Wilpons.
Hey, Reg.
The Wilpons were terrible owners for the Mets.
Reg, do you hear that? You know what that noise is?
Yeah.
It's George Steinbrenner rolling over in his grave.
Yeah, like this. George was a man where if anything goes wrong, he thought season's done. There's no way out of it. And he would do everything to make sure that the season was saved. This guy just doesn't seem to care. He just treats it as a business, something that he just makes money off.
And like, listen, and they asked him about his father, like say, hey, if your father was around, he'd be doing things differently. And he said something along the lines of, yeah, he would, but I'm not my father.
No, but hold up a sec. See, we're not asking you to be exactly like your father. We're asking you. We're not asking you to be that. What we're asking you is to address the issues on the team. Look, your father paid big money to get big time veterans everywhere. You don't have to be that type of owner, but you still have to go out there and see, even if it's a younger player, if you can get someone that can have a big impact on the team, and you need to pound your general manager who seems to have a lifetime deal with this baseball team to make sure you make improvements to this baseball team to save this season, since they still have a chance to do it, then you got to do it. You as an owner have to go up to the people that run your team, the general manager, the people, his advisors, the manager. You have to go up to them and be like, I want to win. I want to win. That's all it is. You don't have to be like your dad. You don't have to go out and scream, and you don't have to, panic moves, do all that stuff. You don't have to be like George. You do not have to be like George, but you have to be an owner of a baseball team with massive success over its history, and you have to treat it with urgency. He did not treat it with urgency. He has not treated with urgency at all this season, period.
He hasn't. You want to know something? Okay. Because he's like, if George was alive, agree or disagree, Boone would be gone.
Yeah, he fired everybody.
Cashman would be gone.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to fire Boone. He just has to place a mandate, something to get this team going. But you're right, yeah.
And
George reacted based on what he was seeing on the field.
And this is just a theory that I have when we said about him not being his father. I think he's trying not to be his father because, listen, if we have Yankee fans who are old enough, who are like in my dad's generation, my dad's 62 years old, you remember there was a time in the 70s and 80s and even up to the mid 90s where the Yankees really didn't have a lot of consistent managers.
Mm-hmm.
Like he fired and rehired Billy Martin 5 times.
Yeah, I know.
and it's like the problem is George Steinbrenner went through a boatload of managers. I don't know if there was a manager that lasted 5 years till Joe.
And of course, when he was away from the game, The Yankees went through a rebuild, something that he would never have approved. Like, you have to understand that.
Yeah, because that was Buck Showalter and Gene Michael who really put that team together.
And of course, Stick, he did a great job.
Rest in peace, Stick. We miss you.
That team, he was tremendous. And then Buck, obviously, back when he actually gave a fuck. Excuse my language.
Oh, registered trouble. No, I'm just kidding.
Excuse my language. I had to drop it on the Mets.
But it's fine. It rhymes. We'll give you that. But the thing is, it's like, I think I'm like, listen, I don't know what goes on in this man's head. I really don't. But
I think what goes on in his head is that, look, he finds it successful that the Yankees are always in the playoffs. He finds it successful that the Yankees are always in some type of spotlight. And he finds it successful the fact that people will still go to games no matter what. So that's his moneymaker. His moneymaker is the Yes Network. His moneymaker is Yankee tickets getting not necessarily sold out. We're not at that level anymore. But still, Yankee Stadium is packed pretty much every night. So he makes money off of that. And that's it. It's a business to him. Everything else doesn't matter. If it mattered to him, he would have made changes a long time ago.
And you know what the thing is? And I think Mike Rifkin and I said this last year in our Yankee autopsy report. Mm-hmm. The Yankees the problem is they become too complacent.
Yeah.
They become too complacent. And listen, sorry to bring back football for a second, but you've heard me on SIP. I've criticized the Maras, the family who owns the Giants. I've criticized them. How many times have I criticized them, Reg?
Too many times.
But you know what? I'll say this about the Maras. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. But you know what? I'm going to give them this. At least they seem like they care. At least they seem like they care. But with Hal Steinbrenner, I don't see that. He knows what he's doing. He just doesn't care. And that's my problem. Hal Steinbrenner just doesn't give a crap.
And he also knows how the game of baseball truly works. But in an effort to protect his money and protect everything else, he acts like these, small, not necessarily small market, because Yankees do spend a lot of money. But still, he implements a lot of the small market ways of playing baseball. The
analytics. Let's not get started on it. We'll be here all night.
The spokesperson managers, the general manager that has to justify every move he makes. It's comical at times. It really is. And it shows on the field. Look, we love baseball, Bill. We played the game. I played it in high school. You played Little League, I'm sure.
Yes.
Look, we've been watching baseball and learning about baseball since we were kids. What we see on the field, we know is a bad product. And look, part of that, like I said before, injuries and asking players that are still fairly rusty to do a lot more than what we expect them to do. But at the same time, we are not blind. We see baseball that's not okay. And when we do get to the dog days of summer, where we're going to be facing tougher opponents, this is going to be a problem.
100% agreed. And the thing is, like I said, Hal Steinbrenner is too complacent. He thinks nothing's wrong.
Tough.
He's when you said his press conference, oh, I get that you're all frustrated. Stop patronizing us. We're not stupid. We're not stupid.
We should also take a moment to continue to criticize the manager too, because he also gives these dumb shit answers.
And listen, Hal, if you're listening, I'm not Michael K. I'm not the Yes Network. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to sit here and give you, it's okay, Hal. I know what you do. No, If you do some stupid BS, I'm going to call you out on it. You don't care. You just don't care.
It after a while it gets old.
And you know what? And I was saying this
Go
a
ahead.
moment ago, Reg, when he said about how George went through manager after manager. He's probably thinking in his head, I don't know what goes on in this man's head, but he's probably thinking, well, I've only went through 2 managers, Joe Girardi and Aaron Boone, so I must be doing good. I'm not like my father who went through like 30, so I must be doing okay.
That does bring something up very interesting that you bring that up. Maybe he's not in tune with the rest of the baseball world. Is that something that maybe we can question a little bit?
Like, listen, it's
something to think about. I don't know.
Sometimes things got to be unstable before they get stable. Listen, was that great that in the 70s and 80s and even into the mid 90s that George Steinbrenner went through like 50 managers? No, it wasn't great, but you know what? George knew something had to be done. And listen, to be like, okay, this guy's not working. Bye. Okay, this guy's here. Oh, he sucks. Gone. Billy Martin's back. Okay, he's gone. Yes. Oh, Stub Merrill. Bye. Dallas Green. Bye. Yeah, we get it. It's unstable, and and I get it that it's frustrating having to go through 30 managers. But if you stick with one and you're saying, see, everything's going fine when it's not, then that doesn't show you're stable. That shows you're just stupid. Reg, I swear to God, Hal Steinbrenner, he's just at best, he's incompetent. And no, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. He's clueless at best, incompetent at worst.
Yankees end their June. They're currently in Oakland right now as part of a road trip. Next up is the Cardinals to really wrap up June, and that series goes into July.
We do got to talk about one thing before we get to July, though.
Yeah.
We got to talk about a lighter topic.
Yeah.
And you know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
It just happened last night, folks.
Well, yeah. We're recording Thursday, happened Wednesday night.
Domingo Germán, baby.
Baseball immortality, man.
27 up, 27 down.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect game. Domingo Germán. Another one of those pitchers the Yankees have that, honestly, look, despite maybe a couple starts, they actually had a strong season. And, when his stuff is there, it's killer. And his stuff was on point all night. Curves, sinkers, fastball. Credit to Kyle Higashioka for calling a really good game. And then, obviously the Yankees pouring on 11 runs made it so much easier, probably relax him a little bit. Yeah, I was very happy to see that. It's special to, I didn't watch the perfect. Unfortunately, I had to fall asleep because I had an early shift at work.
I watched it.
But I would see highlights, and what I saw was really good stuff coming out of Domingo Germán. And I'm sure he got checked all over the place and that he was not cheating. So watch out for that. But yeah, look, no, Domingo Germán, this is a special moment for him. And the Yankees obviously needed to celebrate because it's a cool moment. A perfect game hasn't happened since 2012.
King Felix.
Yeah, and that it's been a long time since MLB's had a perfect game. And I'm glad that, for someone like Germán who's been through a lot this season, I'm glad that happened to him. And for one thing, I hope that it builds his confidence up a little bit more. I know it was against the A's, but still, you never know. I hope it builds confidence up a little bit. And be like, you know what? I can go out there. I can go out there every 5 days. I could pitch. My stuff can be good. and I could be unstoppable. Like,
Absolutely.
why doesn't it start here and now?
You know what? I got to tell you, like, I was watching the game and I was doing something else, and like, I started really noticing it, like the sixth inning, like fifth inning. Said, oh, he's got no hitter going. And then sixth inning, I remember Ryan Rucos at the end of the sixth inning going 18 up, 18 down. If you're still up with us, stay up with us. I'm like, holy crap, he's got a perfect game going. And I was just watching it, and I remember, like, in the top of the ninth, and I ran upstairs and I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I cannot tell you why, but turn on the game. I cannot say anything, but turn it on. And so, what's going on? I'm like, I can't say anything because then I'll jinx it. And
So,
then
I don't think you would have jinxed it. I think
I'm like, okay, I'm going to say this. Domingo Herman, 24 batters up so far, 24 down. He's 3 outs away from a perfect game. And boom, boom, boom. What? This was a pitcher who just got booed off the mound last start, and now he's pitching a perfect game.
yeah. So again, like I said, sometimes you need a really good game against a really bad team to build your confidence. Crazy, yeah, but you never know. Maybe this can change his season around.
And this is probably the best thing that's happened in that Coliseum in a while.
Well, especially since there's a lot of people there, Yankee fans, but a lot of people there.
Did you see? I made this joke in our group chat that said, like, "Wow, this A's games have a smaller crowd than a Nickelback concert." And a good friend of ours in the chat, I'm not going to say who it was, goes, "Joke's on you. People actually want to go see Nickelback. People are dragged to A's games."
Oh my God. But yeah, no, look, that was an unbelievable performance. And yeah, if you're Domingo Herman, celebrate and take this as a confidence booster. Look, you're not always gonna throw a no-hitter or a perfect game, but at least you can go out there saying, like, yeah, my stuff is good, and I'm confident that my stuff will work every 5 days.
And and I also have to say, I don't know if you heard this a couple of days ago. One of Domingo Herman's uncles passed away,
Yeah, please, God rest his soul, please.
And he dedicated the game to him. So
Good for him.
eternal rest grant unto him, O Lord. But anyway, yeah. So Herman pitches a perfect game, and if you were to rank this month on a scale of A to F, how would you rank it?
C minus.
I was going to give it a D plus. So
C minus. They're ending it strong.
I'll give them that. They are ending it strong.
This is a strong. They may lose the series to the A's, but they're ending it very strong. So it's obviously not the month that you want. C minus. I'll be nice to them. C minus. They actually have come together a little bit since the Red Sox sweep, something that they desperately needed to do. And it's look, it's tough to watch at times, and they have to have a somewhat better July. They can't go into July and then get swept by the Cardinals. Can you believe that? Imagine if that were to happen, though.
Oh boy, I'd be screaming. I'd be screaming so loud you could probably hear me from down there.
Cardinals are a terrible team.
Yes.
I'm not saying just sweep them, because look, what the Yankees have taught us is in every series that they should have swept the team.
Chicago, Boston, the Mets.
So, as a matter of fact, they lost those series. So,
okay.
I think that look, you got to win the series against teams that are better than you, and hopefully the Yankees start to realize that.
Okay. So, all right, you ready to jump into July? You have the schedule up?
Sure. I mean, just real quick, it's all I have to say is a lot of National League.
Hello, NL.
Yeah, you have the Cardinals, you have the Cubs, and you have the Rockies. Cubs, you're at home. Cardinals and Rockies, you're away. Now they do have an All-Star break before the Rockies series, so that's that will give them some time. They also have a West Coast trip in Anaheim. Home against the Royals. Then they have another the second leg of the Subway Series. They have 6 games versus the Orioles in that month. So, and then of course Tampa Bay, they have 1 game that spills into August. Here's what I will say about this. In the games against the Orioles and of course the Rays series that spills into August, they have to find a way to win those games. Because if you are behind them, I'm not saying for division purposes, I'm saying for playoff purposes. You gotta beat the teams that are gonna be that you're possibly gonna be facing. So, like you have to set the tone, send a message saying, hey, look, we may be out of the division race, but we're not out of the playoff race, and we're gonna be seeing you guys. So you have to send a message somehow.
Yeah. So overall, the series is here. St. Louis, I think they're going to take at least 2 out of 3.
They should take 2 out of
They
3,
should.
but you never know.
Orioles series, I think they'll be lucky if they split it.
Yeah, it's looking like this sounds like to me, and it's at home, so it's going to be embarrassing. But this sounds to me like some type of 3 out of 4 beating from the Orioles.
Yeah, I think, I think they're lucky if they get 1 game out.
I don't know.
Chicago. What do you think about the Cubs series?
Can go either way. Either 2 out of 3, they beat the Cubs, or 2 out of 3, Cubs beat them.
Rockies, they should be able to beat.
Yeah, that's a really bad team. If the Angels can beat them up by 24 runs, like the Yankees should kill these people. Like that, come on. Like what are we doing here?
The Angels.
That's now a tougher series than we thought.
Yes, Angels are playing decent ball. Not.
I wouldn't say decent ball. I think they're playing very good baseball. Are they? Look, are they still kind of down now? Yeah, kind of. But you have the best player in baseball in Shohei Ohtani. So now, you have to think of the Angels as sort of a threat. So I certainly would put them right there, and I would not take that series lightly. I say if the lineup doesn't get a tad better by then, I'd say Angels 2 out of 3. It doesn't help that they have to go to the West Coast for these games. So 2 out of 3 Angels.
Yeah, the West Coast trip I'm a little hesitant about. Royals.
They could beat the Royals.
Agreed. Mets.
Split.
It's probably going to be like last time.
Yeah.
Royals. I'm
if
sorry.
I'm being honest with you, Royals, they should absolutely sweep. The Mets, they should sweep the Mets too. But, I mean, it's Yankees Mets. That never happens. So I say split.
Okay, next. Oh, is this time 3 in Baltimore?
They're in Baltimore. Tougher stadium to play in. Tougher crowd if the Orioles remain good. I'd say Baltimore sweep.
We're going to get swept by Baltimore.
Yes.
And Rays.
In the series that spills into August, I would say at home, it can go either way. because the Yankees have actually played well against the Rays this season. So it can go either way. Either 2 out of 3 by the Yankees, they win, or 2 out of 3 by the Rays and the Rays win. It can go either way.
So it could go either way.
So you're looking at a month where it could be around the 500, maybe a little less than that, maybe a tad more than 500. Yeah, again, the terrible June put the Yankees in a tough spot.
So hopefully they can make up some ground in July.
Yeah, I don't know. They need to win a lot of these games if they want to talk about playoffs in the chase for in August.
Have at least a decent July.
Not a decent July. They have to have a really good July. And I just don't know if they are.
And if they have a bad July, I hate to say it, I think they may be out of the running.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that because you never know. A lot of these teams could struggle. Baseball's a long season. A lot could happen. The Mets were up 10 games to the Braves, and they collapsed in September. So you never know. It's a long season.
So that is
have a good job. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a couple fun things for you before I stump Reg.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, the fan WFAN put this up in my continuing war against artificial intelligence. ChatGPT did ask who are the top 10 Yankees of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the list. Number 10, Bill Dickey. Number 9, Reggie Jackson. Number 8, Whitey Ford. Number 7, Mariano Rivera. Number 6, Yogi Berra. Number 5, Derek Jeter. Number 4, Joe DiMaggio. Number 3, Mickey Mantle. Number 2, Lou Gehrig. And of course, number 1, the Bambino, Babe Ruth. So, Reg, what do you think of the list?
So 1 through 7 is correct.
Just needs some rearranging.
Just needs a little bit of, changing.
And we'll get to that in a second. But the bottom 10, the bottom 2.
The bottom. Well, I have the bottom 3.
Okay, bottom 3. My mistake, buddy.
I have no issue with Bill Dickey. I have no issue with Whitey Ford. I do have an issue with Reggie.
Okay.
And it's nothing to do. Obviously, we all know Mr. October, the 3 home runs in the World Series, to win the World Series. And look, obviously, Reggie Jackson's impact on Yankees history is not gone unnoticed.
Absolutely.
He is one of the best Yankees to ever wear a uniform.
Absolutely. He's actually one of the only 2 Yankees to have his number retired by 2 different teams, by the Yankees and another team.
Yeah.
That being the A's.
So, but in my opinion, I just don't think the numbers are enough, even though he was a very important player, probably one of the best assets, arguably the best asset they've had in that time period. I just don't think the amount of years that he put into that franchise is enough for him to be in the top 10. You have players like Don Mattingly, Andy Pettitte. Andy Pettitte's not top 10, but
I wouldn't put Pettitte in the top 10.
He's close. Like you have, especially Don Mattingly.
Mattingly, I've been thinking about, you and I have been discussing that.
You're talking about nearly 2 decades out of Don Mattingly in a Yankee uniform, and he only wore a Yankee uniform. And the lack of respect, just because he never won a World Series, or just because he had his back issues, so he didn't live up to major heights as a player.
Now,
It's incredibly fascinating and honestly just sad. It really is.
let me ask you, okay, are you thinking of Mattingly over Reggie because Don Mattingly only played for the Yankees and Reggie he played for the O's, the
Well, but
A's, the Angels?
also because Manley when the Yankees couldn't make the playoffs in the '80s because teams were just better than them. He was the only thing we talked about in the '80s. Well, no, I can't say that. They had Dave Winfield too, but but yeah, no. Look, he was one of the very important players throughout the era where the Yankees couldn't make the playoffs. He was one of the popular players out there. And his numbers are enough for me to, and the fact that he's been a workhorse in his entire career is enough for me to have him in the top 10. That's just me. You can also argue Thurman in the top
Yeah,
10.
because I was actually thinking, would you put, because, I asked my dad what he thought, and he said, yeah, why isn't Thurman in the top 10? My thing with, and you know what they're going to say about Thurman. He didn't play long enough.
Yeah, he didn't play long enough. Yeah. And that's why I defer more to Manley than Thurman because Manley had a long career under very unfortunate circumstances, obviously. If obviously in a perfect world, Thurman Munson probably would have had somewhat of a 20-year career in pinstripes, and who knows what would have been the case.
And here's why I would put Thurman on the list. But it'd be tough because here's the thing with Thurman. Because it's not just like the stats. You got to think about this, the category of leadership. Not too many people know this, but when Lou Gehrig died in 1941,
yeah,
the Joe McCarthy wanted to retire the captaincy because he thought there was never going to be another person like Lou Gehrig. But when George Steinbrenner wanted to make Thurman captain, all of his advisors say, no, Joe McCarthy said after Lou Gehrig, we're done. And he goes, well, if Joe McCarthy or Lou Gehrig met Thurman Munson, I think they'd be singing a totally different tune.
And, that was, years, at least 3, almost 4 decades after the fact, right?
Yes.
So it's like
Gehrig died in 1941. Munson was named captain 76.
That's a long time.
So
to make that to evaluate that, those they were not around in baseball anymore when by the time Thurman Munson started playing. So baseball became a very different game.
So if you saw something different, then yes, I think Thurman should be in the top 10. And I love Reggie, but I don't know if he should be in the top 10.
No, that 10 spot is tough. It's that last spot that's tough. I think Bill Dickey should be higher than Reggie. That's just me.
And Whitey should definitely be in there. Whitey should.
I'm okay with Whitey. I'm okay with Whitey.
You know what season I think was probably his best season, and I think he got very overlooked? 1961.
Okay, that's a great season.
I think he won the Cy Young that year. I got to double check that. But he was World Series MVP. He had one of his best seasons, and he got overlooked because that's when Mantle and Maris were going after Rufe's record.
Yeah.
So he got terribly overlooked. And he did win the Cy Young in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think 61, he got terribly overlooked because the focus was more on Mantle and Maris. But that 10 spot is tough. Do you put Mattingly? Do you put Thurman? Who do you put in there? Do you put Mattingly or Thurman?
What about Bernie?
Bernie, I love Bernie as well.
Like, there are a lot of different players, and I'm just speaking out my ass right now. Like, I don't know.
I appreciate your honesty, though.
But look, just you have to evaluate other players besides looking at Reggie Jackson, and obviously artificial intelligence, they don't really know much. They don't have human feel.
We're still fighting with you, AI.
But yeah, to me, the list, while I get it, doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes.
Yeah.
That's just me.
But if we were to go through the rest of okay, Babe Ruth is number one. That's no if, ands, or buts.
Yeah, no, I like Babe Ruth at number one. Yeah, totally.
But 7 through this is where I said need some rearranging, and this is where I wouldn't say I have huge issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 7, Mariano Rivera. Number 6, Yogi Berra. Number 5, Derek Jeter. Number 4, Joe DiMaggio. Number 3, Mickey Mantle. Number 2, Lou Gehrig. And number 1, Babe Ruth. But here's where the rearrangement, and this is coming from it. Listen, Jeter was one of my childhood heroes, but is he really worth? And I know a lot of people are going to hurt me for this, but is he really top 5 material?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And listen, I'm wearing this shirt right now, Jeter. I'm wearing it right now. Well, and I love Derek Jeter, but I don't think if you were to go from our generation, then yes, I'd say top 5, number 1, not even a question.
Mm-hmm.
But
in all of Yankee history.
But if you're putting him up against, if you're putting him up against category, if you're putting him around the same range as DiMaggio and Mantle and Gehrig and Ruth, I don't see it. I really don't see it, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, look.
Listen, I love him, and listen, I think he really helped bring this franchise back from the dead. Mm-hmm. Because up until the core 4 came, I think if you've watched the captain, I want to say it was either Joel Sherman or Buster Olney who said, if you told me that after the 1995 playoff loss, if you told me this was going to be the beginning of a dynasty, I would say you're crazy. And he brought the franchise back from the dead. I'll give him that, but I just don't think he's top 5 material. Reg, am I crazy?
No, if you drop Jeter 2 spots, put Mariano in the top 5 somewhere, I don't know, I don't care.
But that's even a debate. It's
because then the thing is, then you leave Yogi still out of the top 5.
Here's how I would arrange it, okay?
Yogi deserves to be in the top 5. So who do you take from the top 5 that doesn't necessarily deserve to be there, even though, let's be real, these are some of the greatest Yankees, some of the greatest baseball players that have ever lived.
Here's how I would arrange it. I would put Jeter at 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd put Mariano at 6.
I don't know. Mariano's going to be higher than that. I mean.
And I put Yogi at 5.
If you want to put. I hate to do this to him. I really do. Because the eras are different. See, this is why the eras are different.
And listen, no debate. Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer of all time.
The game has changed big time. But I feel like if you put Mariano, I'll concede this. Put him in the top 6. Jeter goes down 2 spots. Mariano moves up 1 spot. And then you put Yogi there.
I just said that.
Or you put Yogi in the same spot, and then you move Mariano to the top 5. I think the top 5 should have Mariano.
You know what? The thing is I would think Mariano should be in the top 5 too. But when you have your choices between Mariano Rivera and Yogi Berra, who are you going to pick? That's a tough choice, dude. That's a tough choice.
I almost feel like, and this is no disrespect to him, I almost feel like if we swapped Berra with Mantle a little bit, and I know it says a lot.
I don't know. I think that's I was actually thinking about moving Mantle up a little.
Up for Lou? No. That's
Okay, you know what? This is why it's tough, folks. And listen, if we don't have a definitive list, we don't have a definitive list, and we're sorry. But the thing is,
unless you want to
if you
drop
put
Lou,
Gehrig and Mantle together,
you're not dropping Lou that much though.
yeah, I would probably drop Lou to like number 3.
Okay.
Um,
Mm.
I'm not going to drop. You know, Lou deserves to be in the top three, at least the top 4. Like, and that was his number too, 4. The thing is, it's like when you look at Mantle and Gehrig, I know this is 2 completely different positions. If you look stats and slugger, you got to give it to Mantle.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but if you look at for leadership and other qualities, then you got to give it to Gehrig. And
it's almost as if you have to drop someone that's in the top 5 right now.
And that's impossible. You're going to drop. Okay. Who are you going to drop? Like, Babe is dropless.
No, you're not dropping. No, 714 home.
Babe is untouchable. We're not dropping Babe.
No.
If somebody would have dropped Babe, you should be sentenced to a cell in the middle of, I don't know, Nebraska.
No. The only one I can truly think about dropping, and I hate to do this to him, 2 people really. It's Lou and Mick, but out of the 2 of them, Lou drops the furthest. But I don't want to do that to Lou Gehrig because
I don't want to do that.
How's he not top 5?
Like...
To me, I think if you put either Yogi or Mariano in that 5 spot, I believe it should be Mariano. If you put one of them in the 5 spot, it's a better top 7.
Yeah, like here's the thing: Yogi Berra has like the most world championships with 10, and he's won a couple MVPs too. And but Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer of all time.
At least we can both agree Derek Jeter's not top 5.
Yeah. Hey, we can agree on that. And listen, you know who's probably really pleased with us right now? The people who yell, Derek Jeter is overrated.
Yeah, that's certainly overrated. You out of your mind?
Like, listen, I'm going to say this really quick. If you just give me the, he never won MVP, then exit stage right.
Yeah, your mind, Derek Jeter.
If that's your only argument, exit stage right. If you have other valid arguments, I'm willing to hear them.
How is someone that played 20 years of baseball has a lifetime batting average of 310 and has the most hits in franchise history? How is he not in the top 10? Like, that's absurd. How is he not in the top 7? That's absurd. You can't.
Now, listen, we're not saying Jeter's overrated. We're just saying we just don't think he's top 5 material.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
And it's okay because he's still in the top 10, which he absolutely deserves.
Oh, absolutely. That's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, you know, if you're putting them up with names like Ruth and Gehrig and Mantle and DiMaggio, my honest opinion.
Again, different. The big thing is the different eras in baseball.
You know what? I'm going to concede to you. I say
that's why you have to consider Jeter and Mariano's time. Because
I say, you know what? I'm going to concede to you. Let's put Berra at 6 for now, and we'll put Mariano at 5.
And having Berra at 6 sucks.
And that's even a sin right there.
That sucks.
Or, I mean? Or we could go with mine and put Mariano at 6 and Yogi at 5.
I'd actually be okay with that.
Listen, putting Yogi and putting Mariano at 6 is a sin in my eyes. But you know what? If I had to choose, I would probably I want Mariano in the top 5, but it's Yogi. You can't do it to Yogi. So let's put Yogi at number 5. All right. The top 4 was it Mantle or was it? Okay, it
Ruth, Gehrig,
was
Mantle, DiMaggio.
DiMaggio, Mantle, Garrick.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think of that arrangement? DiMaggio, Mantle, and Garrick.
Any way you arrange it, I think it's a perfect 2-3-4.
Because, like I said, if you look between Mantle and Garrick, or even DiMaggio, DiMaggio was a slugger too, 56 consecutive hidden streak. Garrick and Mantle, like I said, it's like comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah.
It's like comparing apples and oranges.
I would put Mantle at 2.
I was thinking that too. And I love Garrick, but I would not. Again, lowest I'm going for Garrick is 3. That's the lowest I'm going.
Like I said, I think he falls the furthest. I honestly think having Garrick at 4 is not terrible. It still
okay, that doesn't sound like the worst thing. This was the guy. Here's where I will argue here. This was the guy who really knew what it meant to be a Yankee.
Yeah.
This is the guy when we talked about with Thurman Munson, they wanted to retire the captaincy until Thurman Munson because they thought nobody could be a worthy successor to Lou Gehrig. And they thought nobody could be a worthy successor to Lou Gehrig. And that is the thing that's really keeping me from moving things here. Because if you want, like, both Gehrig and Mantle were both the faces of the franchise. We're both the, because here's how you had it. When Ruth was the big guy of the franchise in the 20s, when Ruth left, it was Gehrig. Gehrig retires. Today, he considers himself like he's man on the face of the earth, blah, blah, blah. It goes to DiMaggio. And then when DiMaggio left, it was Mantle. And, like, here's what I'll say with Mantle. After Mantle, for a good 10 years, did you really have a base of the franchise after Mantle?
That is a tough thing to think about, yeah.
You didn't really have it. You had Thurman in the 70s. But for a while, you didn't really have that face of the franchise. Like I said, went from Ruth to Gehrig, Gehrig to DiMaggio, DiMaggio to Mantle, and Mantle, who was after that. So I think if you put I think Gehrig and Mantle are interchangeable, in all honesty. I think if you put Gehrig at 2 and Mantle at 3, that's fine, or Mantle at 2 and Gehrig at 3.
If I'm being real with you, if you're going to drop Lou, you drop him to the 4 spot.
So you would put DiMaggio over Gehrig?
Yes.
Okay, why would you put DiMaggio over Gehrig?
And again, that's tough to say because Lou definitely deserves to be in a top spot. So, yeah.
And, like, here's the thing, though, and here's where I'll say, and this goes with Mantle, too. Mantle and Gehrig were the only 2 Yankees to win a Triple Crown as well. So you got to put that into consideration.
That's actually a good point.
So, and, like, DiMaggio... Okay, DiMaggio, let me pull up his stats for 1 second. Please stand by. Like, DiMaggio, yeah, AL MVP 3 times, 2-time batting champion, 2-time home run leader, and 2-time AL RBI leader. And also with Lou, when the All-Century team in 1999 headed into 2000, Reg, Lou Gehrig, I think, received the most votes. So
yeah, it's tough.
Lou Gehrig received the most votes of any player. So this is just a tough decision.
But let's be clear. Jeter's not top 5 and AI got something wrong.
So, like, listen, we could sit here and argue who's number 2, we can sit here and argue to when the cows come.
Know for sure that the list isn't quite done yet.
It's not. Listen, it's not a horrible list. It's not like when we did the top 10.
Reggie at number 10 is laughable. I'm sorry.
When we did the top 10, what was it, best team since 2000? That list was a lot worse. Come on.
Yeah.
This team.
Yeah.
Listen.
You cannot have Reggie in that top 9. Like what? Top 9? No.
So anyway, okay. So you would put DiMaggio over Garrick?
If I had to drop Lou Gehrig, yes.
But you would still keep him in the top 5.
Why would you take him out of the top 5? Yeah. Well, the audience gets it. It's not the perfect list.
You see, there is going to be no just conclusion because we're going to sit here and disagree with each other all night.
Yeah.
And then you got an early shift tomorrow, so we don't fight all night.
But like I said, Chat GPT.
You're not doing so hot.
No.
The thing I can agree with is Babe Ruth at number 1.
Yeah.
And like I said, 2, 3, 4, I think you can change those. Like, I would say I could agree with Reg. I think having Garrick at number 4, DiMaggio at number 3, Mantle at number 2 is not the worst thing. I don't think that's the worst thing. I would put Garrick at 3, but that's me. So, Reg, I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yep, but we can all agree ChatGPT wrong.
Well, they're going to give us more lists, aren't they?
Yeah. Hopefully not about the Yankees, because they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, okay. So after that, hey, Reg, guess what time it is?
Yep.
It's time for Stump the Reg.
You have time for one question.
Oh, only one? Ooh, I got to make it a good one then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With Domingo Germán's perfect game last night, that is the 4th perfect game in franchise history, which the Yankees are now tied for most perfect games in a franchise history. What team are they tied with?
Oh, crap. I don't know. Did you know this?
I looked it up last night. The internet! It's wonderful!
Okay. Who threw a lot of perfect games? Yikes.
Would you like a hint?
Sure.
Nationally, they're a National League team.
Okay, I figured it was a National League team. National League team that has thrown a lot of perfect games. Perfection. How many guesses do I get?
I'll give you 3.
Okay. First guess. The Dodgers.
The Dodgers, that is incorrect.
Okay. Guess number 1. Guess number 2. Trying to think of. Is this a team that's been around for a very long time?
Yes. Hold on. This is very confusing.
Oh no, Bill, did you give me the wrong?
I may have to nullify this question.
Oh no.
I messed up, folks. I'm sorry.
All right, give me another one then. Oh, we'll get to scrap that one.
Okay.
Patch,
Okay.
you can edit that. Patch. You can edit that.
Yeah, editing's a wonderful thing. Okay. We'll keep the theme with the perfect game.
Okay.
And this is an easy one.
All right. Hopefully.
Um, fourth franchise, fourth perfect game in franchise history. Who threw the other three?
What happened? Oh, so Yankees have 4.
Who threw the other three?
Oh, there are 3. There's 3 other teams that thrown 4.
Three other perfect games. Who threw the 3 other perfect games?
Oh, for the Yankees?
Yes.
Oh, come on, Bill. You don't do that to me. You can't give me a cookie. Come
I
on.
felt bad about the Luke Aaron question last month.
Fine. I'll take the cookie and
I'll give you a harder one next one if you want.
Do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do it in John Sterling's voice?
If you want.
Yeah, I'll do it in the John Sterling voice. Don Larson in 56. David Wells in 98. David Cohn in 99.
Correct. Okay.
Baseball immortality.
Okay, you know what? Since I gave you a cookie, I'll give you one bonus so then we'll call it.
Okay, fine.
We just had the Subway Series recently.
All right.
I was going to ask you this one before the perfect game, but
okay.
Buck Showalter is the 5th person in history to manage both the Yankees and Mets. Who are the other 4?
Who are the other 4?
Yes.
Okay. Well, obviously, the obvious one is Casey Stengel. Who are the other 4? There are 4 people that manage both. Oh, Yogi Berra. Yogi. Duh.
Correct. 2 more.
2 more. I know I'm blanking on one. It is the deal. I know I'm blanking on one. Trying to think of Met manager. Sorry. Oh, Joe Torre. Okay.
You got one more.
God, why did it take me so long to get Joe Torre? Shit. And there's one more. When did this person manage the Yankees?
I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
He managed the Yankees in 1989. And he managed the Mets from 1993 to 1996.
'89 crap. I'm blanking on the name. I got nothing.
You give up?
I'm tapping out. Yeah.
Dallas Green.
Oh, I would never have gotten that.
Last month it was Wally Pip. This month it's Dallas Green.
Yeah. I would never have gotten that. I was not going to be my first guess. Yeah. But
okay, so
it took me too long to get Joe Torre, which is stupid of me.
yes,
at least I got Yogi very quickly.
so the 5 are Casey Stengel, Joe Torre, Dallas Green, Yogi Berra, Buck Showalter. Okay, so that's it today, huh?
That is it today.
We went a little longer than we usually do, but we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to talk about. Yankees it was a bad June. It was a bad June for the Yankees. We hope for a better July. And all I gotta say is management has to start worrying.
Absolutely.
You cannot look at this and be like, we're gonna be fine. If it's not fine in July, what's the excuse then? It's August. It'll be fine.
Next month we're gonna be we got the All-Star game, and then we got the trade deadline. So we'll be talking about that next month.
Hopefully we get some moves in.
Maybe if we make some good moves, maybe we'll slip out a bonus episode. You might be getting 2 Bomber Banters in 1 month. Who knows?
It would have to take some big Yankee news, but why not?
Keep an eye out for that, folks. Okay, Reg, if they want to know more, if they want more, where do they go, buddy?
SportsSanityNetwork.com. Watch this show on YouTube every month and follow our socials. Just search the Sports Sanity Network. We love you. And
yes, we do.
We appreciate you, folks.
All right. And go to the website, www.thesportssanietynetwork.com. And check us out all on social media.
Mm-hmm.
For the Sports Sanity Network, I'm Bill Murphy.
Danny Reginald.
Stay safe. Take care. Go Yankees.
Please, let's go Yankees.
Please. Okay, guys, take care.
Okay, bye.